Hi, Filmzii recap here. Watch out, spoilers ahead. This is a movie about a girl called Chi. She is a beautiful girl whose dream is to become a singer one day and play in a musical drama. She's hopeful about the future and tries to achieve her goal, but this is not the whole story. She has a secret, which is her dark side of life. Chi has a special power to understand how much time a person has to live, but to her, it is sometimes like a curse, since she cannot do anything to prevent people's death. One day, while she was traveling, she witnesses a road accident. The emergency services like paramedics and doctors and police are all there to save people's lives. Tichi, the chaos, had another side. She could see how much time each person has. While she's walking, she sees a middle-aged couple. Although they are not hurt in the accident, she understands the man is going to live just for 1 minute. She stands there to help, but unfortunately, the man faces a heart attack and passes away. She's standing there. She realizes the timer is showing her own lifespan. Due to the time, she only has 167 days to live. So she goes to the hospital to see a friend called Miss O. Despite the age difference, they are really close to each other. She understands that. She has recently made friends with a man. When the man enters the room, she understands he only has 67 days left, while Miss O has 2 years to live. She prefers to keep the information to herself. While she's leaving the hospital, a car hits her and she falls down. The car driver is a man named Lee. Unfortunately, he suffers from anxiety attacks. Plus, Lee is afraid of driving. Instead of apologizing to Chi, he starts blaming her for not being careful enough. Lee, who is from a rich family, gets suspicious of Chi to sue him later. To prevent the event, he forces Chi to sit on a wheelchair and takes her to the hospital for a checkup. So she decides to ask Lee to give her a ride. Lee, who is afraid of driving, gives the chance to Chi to drive. She sits at the wheel and starts driving. They drive to the audition really fast. Chi, who is in a hurry not to miss her audition, takes the car key with her. So in order to take it back, Lee has to go and follow her. When he goes inside, he sees a guy called Joe. To prove it, he asks the young girl to prove she used to be in love. She takes the car key easily and apologizes to him. She can't help crying. For a second, Lee suffers from pang of conscience because he yelled at her badly. In this part, we see Lee, who is visiting his girlfriend B. Actually, this is a romantic meeting. It's from an affluent family. They are somehow similar. Let's call them the right match. But B is really arrogant. Despite several proposals, she hasn't said yes yet, although she hasn't said no either. She has actually kept him in a limbo because she believes Lee is not in love with her. Next day, Lee is informed to go to a business trip. She has also been offered a job as a scuba diving guide in China. She says goodbye to her mom and brother. Later, Lee's secretary informs him that the investor has arranged scuba diving for him. Later, he understands Chi is the guide. They dive and explore the ocean. At the end, Chi guides everybody to go back. While everybody is in the boat, she understands Lee is hopeless and cannot believe she's back to help. This is the time Chi realizes the timer has been frozen. She's shocked and when she gets up, they are in the boat and timer is working properly. When Lee enters the room, the timer stops again. Chi cannot believe what is happening. She's make sure if this is because of Lee or not. She goes further and further, and as she predicted, the timer has stopped. As she gets closer to Lee, the timer stops working, so she can have a long. She gets shocked when she understands the timer stopped working when they are together. Another interesting point is that she hasn't seen the timer for Lee. Weeks later, she's informed that Lee and Joe are working together to arrange a musical. She wonders if she can land the role and also gets closer to him. Full of energy, she starts practicing like crazy and preparing herself for the best performance ever. Lee and Joe are silently working, but Lee is trying to gain more and more power. Joe cannot accept cooperating with him. On the day of audition, she performs really well. For sure, she sings better than past, and interestingly enough, Lee has a strange feeling in his heart. The feeling is beyond him, so he leaves that place. She understands his absence and tells the story to Song-hee. As a good friend, she has a plan. She thinks of a way they can work together. The results of the audition will come out soon, but she starts her mission to follow Lee to have longer life. So she decides to become a candidate to be his driver. On the interview day, Lee asks her to go out of his room. When Lee decides to go back home, she chases him and briefly asks him to meet again. He rejects the suggestion, but ending the conversation, three people interrupt them. In fact, they are three actors that Song-hee has hired to attack Lee. The plan was they attack Lee and she saves his life, so this way he may accept to hire her. But as the plan failed, they are arrested by the police. While being in police station, Chi, who is really tired, sleeps on his shoulder. No matter how hard Lee tries to hide his feeling, he can't. While they are touching each other's hand, the timer is working reverse. Instead of shortening her lifespan, it is making it longer. Finally, they come out of police station and she tries to talk to him, but he ignores. Before leaving that place, he asks the girl to take her home and finally accepts to give her the job as his driver. She's so blissful now. Most of the time they are together and this can make her life longer. While driving, Lee is looking at her and smiling. Lee, who cannot stop thinking about her, goes and finds out some information about Chi. He understands that she was born in a very rich family, an embezzler. They have to pay the money back, and that's the reason the family life is not ideal, although she's really ambitious and wants to change her life. Lee is leaving the office and waiting to see her singing. He feels perfect when he looks at her. To Lee, she is everywhere because in fact she is in his mind. This is making him crazy. The same day, coincidentally, they see Joe. He remembers Chi from the exam day and starts giving her some compliments because she has improved compared to the last time she sang. Although the result hasn't been announced yet, she's so hopeful. This is the moment Lee feels jealous. He can't manage his anger and asks Chi to shut up. Later, he asks her to have dinner with him. She accepts but is shocked as well because she cannot understand why he becomes so kind suddenly. But this is not his plan. He can't really stop looking at her. Trying is hopeless. He is really confused. After dinner, she wants to hug the boy, and that's the moment she realizes the timer is working reversely. She's shocked but doesn't tell anything to Lee. They also arrange to go to cinema. Lee states that he needs to relax for a while to steer clear of business and everything. They go to watch a movie. She wants to make sure the timer is working properly, so she starts touching the boy's hand, and the timer stops, but the touch has made them both uncomfortable. Next day, unfortunately, she receives an email which says not chosen for the musical show. Accidentally, she sees Joe, who gives her feedback about her voice, which has emotion, but she hasn't been able to express it. As they are looking for a more professional singer, he's criticizing Chi. Suddenly, she lost it and stormed out. It is the same day when Lee and his girlfriend want to go to a restaurant. That's when she understands she's the new driver, so they are going to a restaurant together. As the waiter says, tables are all reserved, there is no place for Chi, and she has to eat in the terrace alone. Lee, who finds this behavior disrespectful, asks her to leave that place and go back home, but she says it's okay. While having dinner, Lee cannot help thinking about Chi and being there alone. He goes to the terrace and asks her if it is important to her that he's with another girl or not. This is the part when she confesses she's in love with him. The movie ended in this moment.